of some kind of kindness to do this.
Your number one team in the North. Only the sun covers the Bahamas better.
And that concludes the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. I'm Knowles. Here's a live look at the Bahamas Tonight coming your way next.
ZNS News is brought to you by the new BTC. Fiber is here. Faster, stronger, more reliable. Together, we are unstoppable. Switch today.
First at 11. The U.S. Charge d'Affaires weighing in on the United States' expanded U.S. visa restriction policy and making it clear that she does not believe the Bahamas falls within the impacted countries that America has taken aim at. Also, the Prime Minister expressing concern about the ongoing challenges in Haiti as Defense Force officers continue to support the military efforts in the country plagued by violence. And the Bahamas' rent-to-own program laid out before the United Nations by the minister responsible. She reminded the international body not to forget about those women who have fallen on the wrong side of the law. The Bahamas Tonight at 11 starts now. Good evening, everyone. I'm Royson Jones, and this is the Bahamas Tonight at 11. Welcome to the broadcast. America's top official in the Bahamas is tonight clearing the air on the multi-nation uproar triggered by a threat from the United States to allegedly ban foreign officials from countries it says is involved in human trafficking and other human and labor rights violations. The issue putting Cuban medical mission program in the country under the microscope. Corville Pyfram leads us off tonight at 11.
We are neighbors, friends, the closest of counterparts. Our relationship continues.
U.S. Charge d'Affaires Kimberly furnished Tuesday on the impact this Cuban medical program fiasco is having on relations between the Bahamas and the United States, asserting none.
Had this discussion with, top leadership here, with the Prime Minister, the Deputy Prime Minister. We've talked about it at length. We're not targeting any individual Minister of State here. There's no concerns there. It's just simply a discussion. We're talking about how these Cuban medicals are treated, how medical professionals are treated, how they're paid. We want to make sure that their human rights are being met, right? And this is really more about the Cuban government and not the Bahamian government.
Prime Minister Philip Davis addressing the issue as well Monday, advising that the government was aware that a portion of salaries paid to Cuban medical professionals is sent to an agency in Cuba. However, Mr. Davis was unsure whether that portion eventually ends up with the Cuban government. The Trump administration is threatening to cancel the visas of all foreign government officials and their immediate family, who the U.S. deems complicit in the Cuban labor export program. The U.S. charges that the program aids in human rights violations, specifically human trafficking. But Prime Minister Davis has countered that the Bahamas nor its Caribbean counterparts would ever knowingly permit human trafficking. It's a position the top U.S. diplomat seems to back.
Bahamas is not targeted by this. This went to every embassy in the world. The Cuban medical program is something that we're concerned about. There have been some human rights issues within that program. We're not aware of any that are happening in the Bahamas. It's simply the beginning of the opening of a discussion.
Meanwhile, Mr. Davis says the government has begun reviewing its agreements with Cuba to ensure compliance with international human rights standards. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Corville Pyfram.
Thanks, Corville. Well, a country at war, its people at peril. Years after the assassination of its president, Jovenel Moise, Haiti continues to be overrun by gangs, reportedly displacing over 1 million people. And this despite the intervention of a Kenyan-led security force, strongly backed by the Bahamas. Defense Force officers are counted among the troops there. Still, Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis acknowledges that the situation on the ground in Haiti remains a challenge.
Kenyan police officers are doing their best to bring peace and stability into it, and we are supporting them in that effort. And there's been no new news coming out of there other than the fight continues.
Fritz Jean was recently appointed the new head of Haiti's Transitional Presidential Council, and this as the country sets its sights on the long-awaited elections later this year. And speaking of elections, as political parties tune up their machinery in preparation for the 2026 poll day, officials of the governing Progressive Liberal Party have been busy preparing troops to secure what they hope will be a second victory. Altavis Munnings tells us what the PLP's national chairman says this entails.
The Progressive Liberal Party's national chairman's political formula is clear.
It's very easy to be in government and forget the fundamentals, which is that you need to be in contact with people, because this is a people business. We have small constituencies, so there's no reason why you can't be in touch with electors at least once during the term.
And according to the Honorable Frederick Mitchell, every member of the PLP's parliamentary team has been given a marching order to go into their respective constituency and hold a branch meeting. The goal is to ensure the governing party's message spreads nationwide. Now, when it comes to the PLP's 2026 candidate list,
we don't have candidates as such. We have members of parliament who sit in seats. All of them, as far as I'm aware, have been given their marching orders to keep the troops together, and all of them are doing that insofar as I can tell.
The PLP national chairman strongly believes in continuity. This explains why he's capitalizing on the government's accomplishments this term in hopes of securing a second.
If we have consistently the 2 terms, I think the country will appreciate the stability, the consistency, the peace, the less violence that will ensue as a result of consistent policies. And that's really why we're arguing for the second term, not for aggrandizement, but for the best interest of the country. And where people feel that there's a default, please, please know that you have members of parliament and senators who are accessible to you, and please make sure you access them. And if there's a default, we've got a party central office. Get in touch with us, and we will try and rectify whatever those situations are.
When asked if the Progressive Liberal Party is eyeing an early election, Chairman Mitchell candidly said no, adding that the scheduled date for the next general elections is October 2026. Reporting for the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Altavice Munnings.
Thank you for that reporting, Altavice. Passionate chants of change is here, and Ms. Simonet, coming from BAIC workers, frustrated with what they call the inefficient leadership of a trade union they say left them to fend for themselves. Daniel Dean has that story.
The workers of the Bahamas Agricultural Industrial Corporation disgruntled and begging for change. And one Mistress Latanya Simonet vows she's the one that will bring it.
What was brought to my attention is it lacked leadership, it lacked vision. It's divided, it segregates its members. Members aren't able to receive benefits. Members aren't able to be a part of their negotiation process. Members aren't able to receive benefits that unions ought to fight for. And they basically don't have a president that stands up for them. They have a president that selects who they stand up for. And that is not what union is about.
These are issues President of the Bahamas Public Sector and Health Professionals Union, Latanya Simonet, aims to rectify if successful against the Bahamas General Workers Union. Tuesday's elections took place at BAIC's Old Trail Road headquarters, where clerical assistant Lanisha Edwards, former GW shop steward, confirmed under the partnership multiple things went haywire without rectification.
Ms. Latanya Simonet, I prefer her because she is for the people as well. The president that was for BGWU is not for the people. One time ago, I must say she was, okay? But certain things came to effect, and she's not.
During our time at the election venue, there were no General Workers Union representatives present. We were informed, though, that the General Workers Union's industrial agreement with BAIC expired this year, and that left room for Simonet to step right in.
A union that's for the people, and it's for these people. You don't think that union president would be here? You don't think the union president will be rallying for the support of these people? And we're not seeing that. And so what we're seeing is Ms. Sands evidently really know and see that, hey, guess what, my time is up.
The BAIC workers and the Bahamas Public Sector and Health Professionals Union look ahead to a bright future of partnership and change. Reporting for the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Danielle Dean.
Well, the unofficial results of today's union elections at the Bahamas Industrial and Agricultural Corporation are in. Bahamas Public Sector and Health Professionals Union won over the General Workers Union 89-29 here in New Providence and 30-0 in the Family Islands. We await the official results that are expected within the next few days. Also making news at 11, a breakthrough in the Valley Boys' ongoing standoff as the Trevor Davis-led faction secures a victory. Lloyd Allen has all the details in this next report.
After more than a year of wrangling in court and out of court, the Valley Boys apparently finding a way forward following a ruling in court. Helping to divulge exactly what that means is Deputy Chair Jeff Munker. Jeff, tell us what happened.
Okay, as you know, we've been at this for more than a year now. The court this morning gave a ruling that said that we were the owners of the Valley Boys name. What that means for us is the group now can move ahead for this upcoming season. It's been really, really rough over the past year. Of course, this affected sponsorship and everything else. The group, I must say, I must really give kudos to all the group members. They held strong through all this.
Now, coming out of that press conference that your group just had, again, we know that you have elections coming up on the 29th. You also intend to make application to the JCNP for registration before April 1st. Tell us why that's so important.
Well, firstly, we promised when we started on this journey that we would have fair and free elections. We ratified our constitution, I think, about a month ago. Come March 29th, all positions are open for free and fair elections. So coming out of that, we should have a new executive team and be ready to take on Bay Street. As it relates to the JCNP, as you know, last year there was a lot of back and forth with the JCNP. We anticipate that this year things will go smoothly. Our plans is to do whatever it takes to get to be able to compete as an A category group on Bay Street come Boxing Day and New Year's.
And finally, of course, we know that your group represents over 800 members. Again, to those on the other side, the other faction, if there's one thing that you can say to them, what would that be?
Well, this is one Valley Boys. Our goal throughout the whole year was unity. We've attempted on a number of occasions to bring the group together. Now I think this is a perfect opportunity to invite all on board. So let's come back together and participate as the Valley Boys.
Again, it's all about unity. Reporting here from Breezes Hotel for the Bahamas tonight, I'm Lloyd Allen.
Thank you, Lloyd. Still to come, roadworks taking place nationwide. You're watching the Bahamas tonight at 11. More news in just a moment.
Imagine a world where every brand knows your name and every store awaits your arrival. Elite shopping, travel where luxury is a lifestyle and every journey feels like home. Dine where every flavor is just for you, every table reserved, and every moment a taste of perfection. Make every big moment even bigger. Experience banking where wealth isn't just managed, it's maximized. Step into a world without limits. Commonwealth Bank, leader in personal banking services.
Welcome to What's Trending. Join me, Jiminita Swain.
And me, The Bahama Beauty, Monday through Thursday at 6 p.m.
Only on the ZNS Network.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Bahamas Striping Group of Companies, where safety is first.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness is aware of reports circulating on social media surrounding the death of a man who purportedly passed away from a foodborne illness after consuming food from a local eatery. As health officials are investigating the matter, the public is reminded that the Ministry of Health and Wellness can only address clinical aspects of the case, as matters concerning environmental regulations and sanitation requirements at business places falls under the remit of the Ministry of Environmental Health and Natural Resources. From the crime beat, police learned that a 23-year-old man was walking shortly after 9 o'clock last night in the area of Darling Street and Wolf Road when a male motorcyclist reportedly shot him. The victim is listed in stable but critical condition in hospital. Around 2 hours later, a group of men exited a white Japanese model vehicle and reportedly shot a 21-year-old man sitting in front of a residence. Police say the culprits fled in an unknown direction in the vehicle. The victim sustained gunshot injuries to the upper back and is listed in stable but critical condition in hospital. Officials are going after the youth to help drive down this year's traffic fatality numbers, already at 15. R.M. Bailey Senior High School, the venue for the official National Road Safety Jingle and Mascot launch. Prime Minister, the Honorable Philip Davis, taking the lead by encouraging the high schoolers to capitalize on their legacy.
Students of R.M. Bailey, this is your moment. You're not just the leaders of tomorrow, you are the influencers of today. When you ride with a friend who's speeding, speak up. When you see someone texting and driving, call it out. Use social media to share the jingle. Wear the mascot's image proudly. Be the generation that says, enough. Hit it?
The Prime Minister also launched a road safety corporate influencer network. He's inviting more companies to join in sponsoring school zones, rewarding safe drivers and using their platforms to amplify the message. In the meantime, he admonished motorists to set an example and slow down, put the phone down and show the youth that maturity means responsibility. And his message to the R.M. Bailey campus?
To every student here, you are the innovators we need. Next month, we launch a National Road Safety Creative Competition for ages 11 to 16. Design posters, write songs, produce short films. Show us how you would make roads safer. The best ideas will shape our national campaign because your voice matters.
The Minister of State for Housing and Urban Renewal adopting an unconventional approach when she addressed the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women, in the process sparking the attention of countries around the world. Felicity Darwell tells us about it in her final report from CSW 69 in New York.
The Bahamas once again emerged as a leader on an international platform when Minister the Honorable Lisa Ramming wowed attendees with her take on the advancements needed for women and girls. They were amazed to learn that within days, our country will launch the Rent-to-Own program.
It is the persons who think that they don't matter to us, that they really do matter, and that this government, the Davis administration, is looking out for them. Persons who cannot easily qualify with the traditional banks, they have the opportunity to have their own home by renting towards owning that home. And so they're so excited. So all of the red tape, all of the huge qualifications that a traditional bank would require of you, that's not expected of them. So we say, come one, come all.
While those attending this UN conference were intrigued by this government housing concept, she struck a deep chord when she called on the UN not to forget the women in prison.
What about the women in prison? Incarcerated women. Do you remember them? Do we include them in the definition of women? Do these women really matter? Have they lost their right to be treated fairly while incarcerated? These women need economic opportunities after leaving prison. Are they worth being fit into the present and future role and attention of the CSW? Let me say, it should not be left to defense attorneys to fight for them. It should not be left for activist groups or human rights groups to just fight for them. They need you, CSW.
Minister Ramming shared how she catered to the women at the Bahamas Department of Corrections on International Women's Day, a touching moment where she learned how they felt forgotten and they're seeking to be able to work on parole like their male counterparts. Women from around the world came to meet her, and they've committed to looking at the women in prison in their own countries. But there are serious threats that must be overcome for meaningful progress, and the Bahamas is no exception. One of the biggest threats to all of the work that is being done for women and girls here at the UN is gun violence. From the UN headquarters in New York City for the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Felicity Darwell.
The government has embarked on an aggressive improvement road project that's expected to impact every island throughout the country. In fact, Works Minister, the Honorable Clay Sweeting, is touting it as the most paving done by any government.
You will see shortly that that we'll put out a tender process for 18 more miles on Long Island upon what we did around Stella Maris. So we did a lot of paving there recently. South Andros has started with paving. We are looking at starting some work in Mangrove Key. Central Andros is at a lot of paving. North Andros. In short order, you'll see areas in Abaco get paved. So you'll see in a few weeks persons on the ground there. We're looking at the possibility of doing Sweeting's Tract in Abaco as well. We're looking at Grand Bahama. We've been paving a lot in Cat Island, along with waterworks there. Of course, Eleuthera. And you'll see some work starting in San Salvador in short order as well. Crooked Island, we're looking at completing that. We got 1 mile of road left to pave in Crooked Island. And we've also done the scopes on on Inagua, and we're going to do some scopes on Meguana.
Police Month activities continued with a mini tattoo in the Kemp Road community. Residents there had a grand time enjoying the entertainment of the Royal Bahamas Police Force. Here's Police Press Liaison Officer, Chief Superintendent Sharia King.
We came out to tell and give some of the love that the Royal Bahamas Police Force is passing out. We're coming Camp Road and the residents of Camp Road to collaborate with them and engage them and give them and showcase all that the Royal Bahamas Police Force have.
The event showing off lots of cool tricks from speed cops, members of the police force pop band, while inspiring youngsters. Camp Road's very own Leonard Neely was honored for his work in community building.
You get up every day, you do your best for your community. Basically, as every Bahamian should do, is serve their country, serve their people. And then one day, they decide to honor you. That's amazing.
Almajal Knowles has a look at what's coming up in sports tonight. Almajal?
And a number of Bahamians getting ready for March Madness. Details of that story and more coming up in sports.
Bahamas Striping Group of Companies, we have been in Exuma now for the past 4 years, carrying out our paving program. A part of our company's philosophy is to do some work to international standards. So when you look at our paving division, we have a state-of-the-art lab to do all of our testing in-house, as well as a state-of-the-art asphalt plant with a trained technician carrying out the work on that site. The overarching goal of our company is to produce the work that we're doing in the entire Bahamas to international standards. We also make a difference by the training of our staff. We have a very intensive training program going on to where we are teaching young men how to learn the art of striping. Being a young man myself, I've made mistakes in the past. I was given a second chance to better my life, and it's only fitting that we pass it along. What's important for us is giving them a second chance for them to get a skill and a career that could take them further in life.
Welcome to Tuesday Sports, everyone. I'm Almajal Knowles, topping sports. Well, it's March, and that officially means it's time for March Madness. A number of Bahamians set to compete in the big dance with the NCAA men's and women's basketball tournament set to tip off later this week. Now, Selection Sunday, leaving one of our own with some questions for the committee.
Yes, I'm shocked with the strength of schedule of a 3 and a net of a 12, and in the last month beating the number 8 and number 7 ranked team in the country. You would think that we would have a chance to host.
That was Yolette McPhee-McCoon speaking on the 5 seed her Ole Miss Lady Rebels received after Selection Sunday. Based on their strength of schedule, Coach Yo was hoping for a top 4 seed, wherever they would narrowly miss out. They will host Ball State on Friday in Spokane. On the men's side, VJ Edgecombe and his Baylor Bears, a 9 seed in the East. They will open up against number 8 Mississippi State on Friday. AJ Storr in Kansas, a 7 seed out west. They will take on number 10 Arkansas on Thursday. Fred King and Creighton, a 9 seed in the South, will face the team he initially committed to in the Louisville Cardinals. Dayton Albury in the 10th seed Utah State in the Midwest. They will open up against 7 seed UCLA on Thursday. Valentino Simon and Nebraska Omaha, 15 seed in the West. They will take on Big East champion and 2 seed St. John's on Thursday. And on the coaching end, McCall McLean in Kentucky, a 3 seed in the Midwest. They'll face 14 seed Troy on Friday, and Brian Clark, an assistant with the Houston Cougars. They're the top seed in the Midwest, and they will take on 16 seed SIU Edwardsville. The big dance officially tipping off with the first 4 this evening. And in somber news, the sailing community losing one of the most prominent skippers and boat builders the country has ever seen. Our Charles Fisher tells us more in this report.
Mangrove Bush native Laurin Knowles passing away at the age of 87. He was a sailing legend, sailing some of the top A-class sloops like the Running Tide, Susan Chase, and Rupert's Legend to victories, but also in the B and C class. He also was one of the country's top boat builders from A straight to Class D. Some of those sloops are making waves today. One of his sons, Ian, on the quiet sailor who made noise on the seas.
Most of his boats, you never heard him say a bad word. He was always that guy. When he win, he will ask him how he feel. He'll say, well, what you think about it? And so my father will always remember for his quietness and his humbleness and his hard work. My father worked himself to the bone when he was a younger man that raised his 8 children, one deceased, so he had 9 children. And so, like I said, he'll be missed, especially by his family and his friends, because of what he have done for the community of Long Island, and especially for the country in the Bahamas.
A billboard erected in Long Island and shows the numerous championships Knowles recorded. His youngest son and one of the country's top skippers standing by his father's boat that has been around since 1963.
This boat is one more regattas in the country than any other vessel. Oh yeah. In addition, between the 2 regattas, the National Farmland Regatta, Long Island Regatta, my father has won more championships in the A, B, and C class than any other captain.
Chester Fox, Commodore of the Long Island Regatta, once sailed with Knowles on the chase, calling him a man of all trades.
Right now we are standing by the Long Island Regatta site, and Captain Laurin, he was so instrumental in getting this off the ground. And all through the community, Captain Laurin was always an island builder, a people's person, very well liked throughout the community, and what you'll call him as a real gentle giant, always humble in all his ways.
Roger Fox, who grew up sailing with his uncle Laurin, had this to say.
Nobody has left a legacy in sailing as he has. You know, you can talk about guys like Ronnie Gill or whatever, but when you look at Captain Laurin and what he has done for sailing and what his children has been doing for sailing, is not even comparable. I don't think nobody has won more regattas than him. Stephen might be close right now, but I think he still might have the lead. So, yeah, Long Island is going to miss him, and the whole sailing community, he'll be a huge miss.
Condolences on the passing of a sailing legend. He will be definitely missed. For ZNS Told Sports, I'm Charles Fisher.
And that's when we look at your sports on this Tuesday. A check on weather when we return.
Here at Immigration Care Service, you can trust us, especially if you have experienced issues or problems with the U.S. immigration at the borders. We'll do our best to provide options and solutions to immigration roadblocks, so travelers can continue visiting the U.S. and residents can continue living their lives in the U.S. without worries. The best part? Our services are affordable and accessible. Take the mystery, confusion, and fear out of your immigration concerns. Contact Immigration Care Service today.
It's time now for a weather check with Chief Meteorologist Basil Dean. Good evening to you, Basil.
Good evening, Royston. That area of high pressure across the Bahamas will begin to push towards the east and weaken over the next couple of days, paving the way for yet the arrival of another frontal system, which we'll get in here sometime early on Friday morning. Now, your boating forecast tonight is brought to you by Live Business, where we bulk up your business. In the northwestern islands tonight through tomorrow, the winds are going to be out of the north at 12 to 18 knots. The wave height 3 to 6 feet. High tide will occur at 11:32 tonight, with another high tide at 11:44 tomorrow tomorrow morning. And then for the central and southeastern islands tonight through Wednesday, northwest winds 15 to 20 knots, the wave heights 4 to 6 feet over the ocean, so caution flags will remain in place through tomorrow for the entire 700 islands. And then on Thursday, for all areas, we're going to have a significant decrease in those winds, becoming northwest at 10 to 15 knots, so wave heights subsiding 2 to 4 feet, so we'll drop the caution flags on Thursday. Now, your low tide will take place at 6:41 in the morning with a high tide at 12:25 in the afternoon. That's going to do it for your boating forecast. Take you now to our satellite pictures once again, and you can see that old frontal boundary well to the southeast of the Bahamas, leaving behind that area of high pressure. But the front, as we said, will get in here on Friday morning. Temperatures around the islands, 68 degrees in Marshall, Babaco, Green Toll Key and Freeport at 65, 70 degrees in the Berry Islands, Alistown, Bimini, 74 degrees there. 70 in Harper Island. Rock Sound, Eleuthera, 68 out of Sound Cat Island at 70 degrees, 71 in Black Point, Exuma, Kemp Space out Andros, also in Fresh Creek, Central Andros, and that extends in Georgetown, Exuma as well. Some 72s in Ragged Island, Clarence Sound, Long Island, and Crooked Island. Betsy Bay, Maguana, 74. Ackland, 76 degrees. Matchetown in Agua, the warm spot tonight at 82 degrees, and the Grand Turk reporting a temperature of 75 degrees. And your forecast tonight, we're looking at clear and chilly conditions, low temperature getting down to 59 degrees, and tomorrow a little bit of breeze in the morning, otherwise pleasant with lots of sunshine in the afternoon, high temperature getting up to 78 degrees. Extended weather forecast, beautiful weather right through Thursday. It'll warm up a bit as that front comes in on Friday morning, just around 6 o'clock in the morning, and then we'll see temperatures dropping again. We start to pick those 50s up again Saturday morning, temperature dropping to 56 degrees, 59 on Sunday night, and then things start to warm up as we head into the early part of next week. Royston.
That chilly weather, we'll have to snuggle up there for those out there who are getting cold. Well, that does it for the Bahamas tonight at 11. Thank you for continuing to make ZNS your first choice for news and information. Only the sun covers the Bahamas better than ZNS. Thank you for watching, and good night.
At Tonic Williams Darling Highway, I'm Tijaro Hudson. This is ZNS.